What is our oral landscape like at the moment? It's the sound of, can you hear me? Or when you're on Zoom.
How can three researchers work together across time and space,
using algorithms and literature to think about creativity and research in new ways? What do you get if you give a relatively new human creation information about something as global and as timeless as a pandemic? We input pandemic texts into the algorithm, and that produced a series of strange vignettes.
You have the texts that were created by the AI. How do you now transform it into music?
You don't often see people just showing audiences what AI is with nothing else attached. And I've just tried to show what this text sounds like, really plain and simple, how it works.
And then you have an illustrator who sees those texts and creates a picture out of it, and suddenly it all makes more sense. I think this whole piece is also there to have a discussion about the role of AI. There's still a lot of myth around it. So when you look into science fiction, for example, there's Terminator imaginary or there's R2-D2 imaginary. How can we think about AI in a more co-creative way? The role of AI here is just a tool. It's just something that helped us to bring other pieces to life.
Sometimes this intelligent technology can be a really useful springboard to push your practice in a new or interesting direction.
The use of algorithms can really disrupt what we think of as art. What is the creator? Who is the creator? Is the AI the creator because it drew on everything that it knew in the same way that I drew on everything I know?
Acts can be creative. I can act creatively, or an algorithm can act creatively.
The AI created different sets of texts without an intention of a coherent world. But at the same time, we as readers, we create sense when we read them. Who is creating the story? Is it the AI or is it the reader? Or was it Chelsea, Rob and me?
It opens up a whole mess of questions around personhood and around what it is to be creative and can a machine be creative. One of the things that is so interesting about AI is that we assume that data is neutral, but of course it isn't. What do the outputs tell us about us, not what do the outputs tell us about the system?
I'm really hoping we can show people exactly what this weird technology is right now, and also that it can be used to analyse this situation we're in maybe a different way, give it a different lens.
I think this will allow the creative industry to come up with new art forms. What else can be created, beyond the obvious?
We hope that the Sound of Contagion will help people think about creativity and about creative tools in new ways.
How can an author and an artificial intelligence create something together?
How can AI support creativity, and how can an AI change how we are creative?